the dome maker. Jessica wanted a plugin to make domes. So I wrote the dome maker. And actually, I need to be zoomed in. There we go. So this plugin makes domes. You can also make Hershey Kisses. It's got presets for what type of dome to make. It actually says chocolate kiss. What it's actually doing is creating a curve, a spline, and then it just spline lathe. It lathes the curve. So you can adjust the segments, the sides, the width. You know, you can adjust the size of it. You can have it create it so that it stays the same width as the depth instead of having independent controls for that. See, now it's kind of oblong. It's increased. Actually, this value here, this is something you very rarely see. You see how I slide? I'm on the edge of my tablet now, and it hardly moved at all, this value. If I change this to 10 and start sliding it, it goes in bigger increments. Because the sliders in LScript can be kind of weird, so I added this slider increment so you can make bigger changes. You can subpatch it, and you can make it spherical, so now you can have it almost like a UFO. There we go. Again, it's an LScript, so you can't interact with these 3D viewports while it's running, but you can see the changes. And so these sliders here, they adjust the angle of the curve that's being created. If we actually set this back to 1, there's a Christmas ornament. There we go. Any questions? Okay. Has anybody ever tried to lathe a spline? Let's create a quick spline. I don't need any advanced controls, so I'll just go with the spline tool that comes in LightWave. Let's create, there's an odd looking spline. Okay, there's our spline. Let's lathe it. That's really dense. Yeah. Do you see? Look at that. There's no option in here. It's not in here. I know what you're going to tell me. It's not in here though. It's really complicated. It's in the options panel, isn't it? Yes, and you only get 3. Yeah, you don't have any options other than coarse, medium, or fine. So it's like, okay, ridiculous, and super crazy. So here's our curve. So what was that set? I have it on, that was on medium. Let's go to coarse, lathe it again. And you see, that's still way too many cross sections this way. You know, you can adjust how many around this way, but not the other way. Spline Lathe. A LScript I wrote. One spline must be selected. Okay. I'll do that. I don't remember exactly how this one works. Only one spline. Okay. And then you can see here it's actually not crazy. You can adjust the segments down. There's one segment. So it's got controls kind of like the option in the PX Bezier for the number of segments. So you can actually adjust the segments this way as well as the sides, which you can do this in the lathe tool, but you can't adjust the segments in the lathe tool. And you can subpatch it, so you can see it subpatched. You can flip it, see if it, let me cancel this. It automatically lathes around the center. So somehow I ended up with 2 curves there. I only wanted 1. So let's see, where was I? Subpatch, flip it. If it was inside out, because sometimes it'll lathe it inside out, you just flip it and it'll leave it the correct way. Yes?
Control, like if you want to just do a 90-degree section, could you do that?
Start.
No. It needs to have that option. I guess I'll be adding that option to it. This point here, these are the points on the spline, and this is the location of the spline. So I can actually adjust my spline while I have it lathed. So it's kind of an interactive lathe / modification. So if I set this one at 0, I should get a fairly nice little patch there. Or I move it out and I'll get a little hole. So I can do this too. Oh, that's not the direction I wanted to move. So yeah, I can adjust these different control points while it's lathing it. Go here, extend that out a bit. So a distribution, you actually change the distribution. It's using the regular lathe tool, as I recall. It's using the regular lathe tool, but what it first does is it extrudes a single point along the curve, and it only does it the number of segments you set, and then it lathes it. So it's not lathing the spline, it's lathing a point that's been extruded along that curve. So you get the same options you would when you extrude a point along something, whether to do it by knots or lengths. And it does have axes controls for whether you lathe across the X or the Y or the Z. And you can have it leave the spline, so it'll still be there when you're done if you want to use it for something else. So there's an extruded or a lathe spline that does not have 300 faces in one segment. So